And there is an all-out effort to get more people to the polls this November, and there's a new documentary now that aims to help voters better navigate that process as we get closer to Election Day, which is now just 35 days away.
That is correct, and it's called All In, the Fight for Democracy. It's produced by former Georgia House Minority Leader Stacey Abrams via Amazon Studios, and we are very happy to have Stacey Abrams herself joining us now. So thank you so much for being with us, Stacey. Before we get to voting, I want to get your reaction on the New York Times report about President Trump's tax returns. I'm curious. Obviously, it was a big headline. It was information journalists have been spending years and years trying to get their hands on. But how much of an impact do you think this is going to have on Election Day? Will it actually change a voter's mind?
I think that for those who have been solidly behind Donald Trump, this will make no difference. Those who have been opposed will make no difference. But for those independent voters, for that 14% that say they're still undecided, I do think it will continue to either reaffirm what they believe or contradict something they've told themselves. But hopefully it will convince those remaining voters that this is not the man to lead our country.
And also, I don't know if you saw, this came from the UK. UK's Channel 4 actually got its hands on a huge cache of documents, some information that essentially showed in 2016, according to this outlet, that the Trump administration targeted some 3.5 million black voters and tried to find ways to target them with advertising to keep them, to discourage them from the polls. I'd like to hear your reaction to that as you work on so much there in Georgia, voter suppression. But this is, if true, is some kind of a high-tech voter suppression. So your reaction and what do you think about moving forward and how we're supposed to keep an eye on and how we're supposed to combat this type of attack?
It's not about whether you vote for one guy or the other. It's about whether you try to discourage or prevent voters from being heard at all. And to the extent anyone undertakes the effort of blocking eligible Americans from casting their ballots, they're engaged in voter suppression, and that is wrong.
Take a moment here to talk to those voters, maybe even especially young voters who kind of throw their hands up and they're trying to be encouraged to engage in a process that so many people say is not fair.
Regardless of the party you stand with, the process of being able to vote, the process of being able to select your leaders should never be ceded to anyone else. And so I won't concede that a system is proper that doesn't serve us, but I will also not give my power away by saying I'm going to let you win by giving up. And that's what I want young people in particular to understand. If they want the change that we talk about, action on climate, action on criminal justice reform, action on bodily autonomy, action on our economy, and action on COVID-19, then we cannot give up. We must show up and cast our ballots this election season.
That is a powerful message, and it's going to be a pretty powerful night. I know you'll be watching, Stacey, tonight. President Trump and Joe Biden have their first debate. What are you expecting to see on that stage?
Well, I'm expecting Joe Biden to remind us of why he is such a beloved person, why we wanted him to be the nominee for the Democratic Party. I expect to see a man of competence, someone who has the moral courage and the vision for how we recover. I expect to hear lies from Donald Trump. I expect him to try to evade taking responsibility for the failures of his administration. This is a man who is, in the midst of a pandemic, is attempting to strip Americans of their health care. And so I want to hear how he's willing to resolve the contradictions in what he says and, unfortunately, what we see him not do every single day.
Well, the documentary is All In, the Fight for Democracy, streaming now on Prime Video. Stacey Abrams, we appreciate your time and your voice today. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
And stay with us here on GMA 3. Just ahead, the Secretary of the Army on the coronavirus fight and sounding the alarm on a worrisome development within the ranks.
And the sharp rise in active duty suicides as the battle against COVID-19 intensifies. We're going to look into that when we come back.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.